Student, welcome to the class. So now we are going to deal with another important topic, that is circulation of blood. In the previous class we have studied about the external and internal structure of human heart. Okay, and now we shall see how the circulation will take place and what are the different types of circulation. Okay, so I have told you already, heart is conical in its shape with right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle and left ventricle. So right auricle, right ventricle always carry deoxygenated blood, left auricle and left ventricle carry oxygenated blood. Okay, so here the superior vena cava brings impure blood, that is deoxygenated blood from upper body parts. Inferior vena cava carries deoxygenated blood from lower body parts, and they open into right auricle. Right auricle opens into right ventricle. From the right ventricle, the pulmonary artery arises and supplies blood to lungs, right lung and left lung. In the lungs, the blood gets oxygenated, isn't it? And the oxygenated blood is collected by pulmonary vein and it opens into left auricle, and from the left auricle the blood flows into left ventricle. So there is no backward flow of blood. Why? Because of the presence of valves, tricuspid valve here in between right auricle and right auricle or atrium, both are same. So from right atrium to right ventricle there is a valve that is called tricuspid valve, and in between left atrium and left ventricle there is a bicuspid valve, and it is also called as a mitral valve. They prevent backward flow of blood. So from the left ventricle oxygenated blood is carried by aorta, which supplies oxygenated blood to all body parts. Largest artery is aorta, and so this is the flow of blood. And let us see what are the differences between arteries and veins. Okay, so arteries, what are arteries? Arteries are the blood vessels which carry blood from heart to various body parts, and the veins collect blood from various body parts and take the blood to heart. Okay, that is the main difference. And arteries, all arteries carry oxygenated blood, and except pulmonary artery, all veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. Okay, pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood, pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. Okay, another difference is the walls of the arteries are thick, whereas the walls of the veins are thin. Why? Because of blood pressure. So there is more blood pressure in arteries and less blood pressure in veins. So, and next thing, there are valves present in the veins. So what are the valves? Again, as in the case of bicuspid valve, tricuspid valve, in between right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle and left ventricle, the valves prevent backward flow of the blood in the veins, because veins collect blood from lower body parts especially. The blood is traveling against gravitational force. So that is why the backward flow of blood should be prevented. How? Because of the presence of valves, the blood is able to flow up from lower body parts to the heart. So whereas the arteries supply blood from heart to all body parts, so there is no need for valves. So that is why there are no valves in the arteries. Okay, and arteries start with large blood vessel and they end with capillaries. Imagine systemic aorta is the largest blood vessel and it carries blood to all body parts from head to toe, and it redivides and forms ultimately the finest blood vessels which are called as capillaries. So arteries end with capillaries, supplying blood to all the cells in the body. So blood supplies, hemoglobin present in the RBC carries oxygen, and blood from the small intestine, that means the villi are richly supplied with the blood vessels. The blood carries nutrients to the cells. Okay, So they end with the capillaries, whereas veins start with the capillaries. They collect waste materials, that means carbon dioxide that is produced during cellular respiration, and waste materials that are present in the cells. They are collected by the veins and they take it back to heart. Okay, so that is the function. And the walls of the, I told you, the walls of the arteries are thick. Because why? Because there is more blood pressure in the arteries, and veins, the walls of the veins are thin because there is less blood pressure. So at the same time I want to say what is blood pressure. So blood pressure means the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries is called blood pressure. So when the heart pumps the blood, heart is a pumping organ, it pumps the blood enters into the arteries like pulmonary artery and aorta, exerting lot of pressure on the walls of the arteries. So to withstand that pressure, the walls of the artery should be thick. Whereas veins are collecting blood vessels, that is why there is less pressure in the veins. Okay, and so the lumen of the arteries. So imagine these are the arteries. So the arteries walls are thick, and the lumen is smaller one, whereas the veins, the walls are thin and the lumen is large. Okay, so walls are thick and the lumen is smaller one, and the veins are thin walls, they have thin walls and the lumen is larger. Okay, so these are the main differences between arteries and veins. Okay, is it clear? Differences between arteries and veins. And next let us see atria and ventricles. So what is the difference between atria and atria is also called as auricles. So that means atria, right, this is right auricle and left auricle. They are receiving chambers. So they receive the blood from, so right auricle receives blood from superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, whereas left atrium receives blood from pulmonary vein. Okay, and right atrium pumps blood to right ventricle, left atrium pumps blood to left ventricle. Okay, and so here the tricuspid valve is present, here bicuspid valve is present. Okay, and so these are the main differences between the walls of the atria are thin, whereas the walls of the veins are thick. Why the walls of the ventricles, sorry, the walls of the, not veins, ventricles, the walls of the ventricles are thick. Why? Because they have to pump blood to various body parts. So that is why the walls of the ventricles are much thicker when compared to atria. Okay, so that is these are the main differences between atria and veins. So, and again let us get back to blood pressure. I told you what is blood pressure means. When heart pumps the blood enters into the arteries, exerting lot of pressure on the walls of the artery, which is called as blood pressure. So the normal blood pressure in human being is 120 by 80. That is, it is measured in mm, that is mercury level. And what is the instrument with which blood pressure is measured means sphygmomanometer is the instrument with which the blood pressure is measured. So that is, the healthy man has 120 by 80 blood pressure. So 120 is systolic pressure, 80 means diastolic pressure. That what is systolic pressure, what is diastolic pressure, that we shall see in the next class. So this is about differences between arteries and veins, atria and ventricles. I'm sorry. Atria and ventricles. arteries and veins, atria and ventricles. Right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle, left ventricle. So this is blood pressure, and the instrument is a sphygmomanometer. And now if we see the circulation, how the blood is circulated, there are two types of circulations: single circulation, double circulation. So what is single circulation? It means only one circuit is present in single circulation. Only one circuit. Example in fishes. In fishes, the respiratory organs are, it was told in the previous class, the respiratory organs are gills. So first, from the body parts, the deoxygenated blood is collected by the veins. They carry blood to the heart. From the heart, the blood goes to the gills. In the gills, the blood gets oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood gets back to the body parts. So we have already discussed, the fish always opens and closes its mouth very frequently. When it opens its mouth, the water containing oxygen enters in, and in the gills the blood gets oxygenated, and when it opens, the water containing carbon dioxide goes away. So here, from the body parts, the deoxygenated blood is collected by veins and it goes to the heart. From the heart, the blood goes to the gills. From the gills, the oxygenated blood gets back to the body parts. So this is only one circuit is present. That is why it is called single circulation. It is called single circulation. One circuit, or it is also called a single circuit circulation. But in higher organisms like amphibians, reptiles, aves, mammals, in all higher organisms, there is double circulation. What is double circulation? Means two circuits are present. What are the two circuits? So from the body parts, the deoxygenated blood is collected by superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, and it goes to the heart. From the heart, the blood goes to the lungs. In the lungs, the blood gets oxygenated. So in alveoli, by means of diffusion, alveoli give out carbon dioxide and take in oxygen. So the oxygenated blood is collected by pulmonary vein and it gets back to the heart. From the heart, the oxygenated blood is supplied to the body parts. So here two circuits. One circuit is from body parts to the heart, which is called as a systemic circuit. And from heart to lungs, the circuit is called pulmonary circuit. Systemic circuit and pulmonary circuit. So here, that is why it is called double circulation. Two circuits are present. Two circuits, from body parts to the heart, one circuit, and from heart to lungs. So body parts, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, they carry deoxygenated blood to the heart, right auricle, from right auricle to right ventricle. From the right ventricle, pulmonary artery goes to the lungs. In the lungs, the blood gets oxygenated. The oxygenated blood is collected by pulmonary vein. So pulmonary vein gets back oxygenated blood to the heart. This oxygenated blood is supplied to body parts. So this circuit between body parts and heart is called systemic circuit. The circuit between heart and lungs is called pulmonary circuit. So this is the circulation of blood in fishes and in higher animals. Single circulation, double circulation. Differences between arteries and veins, differences between atria and ventricles. Atria and ventricles. So these are the differences. Blood pressure, normal healthy person has he will have the blood pressure between 120 by 80. 120 is systolic pressure, 80 is diastolic pressure. So the instrument is which the blood pressure is measured is sphygmomanometer. So this is about the important part of circulation. Okay, hope you have understood. Okay. So we'll continue in the next class. Thank you.